Welcome, I'm Dr. Bryan,
And I'm Mary Claire.
and today we're going to talk about how using our AI-assisted test builder to create a fidelity test can change the way you can get answers to your questions.
We are indeed. Our team, Bryan and I included, have talked to numerous people. We've been doing this for a while. And one of the things, I was actually talking to a woman today, and we'll talk about that in a second, but one of the things that often pops up in these conversations is, what is it? How does it work? And how is it different than whatever I might be considering, or in
Right.
fact, doing nothing at all? So that's what we want to address today. And I think this conversation I had with this wonderful woman this morning is indicative. She's has some questions of fidelity in her relationship. In fact, there had been some infidelity prior. Her now husband, had cheated before they got married. And some things have bubbled up to the surface, that this question, unfortunately, of is he being faithful, is he not? And faithful is a broad question, and we'll talk about that. Is he being faithful or is he not? What do I do? And so she's coming. We talked to Bryan. You and I said this multiple times. We come to this as people are coming to us with a really vulnerable spot. They're scared. They're worried. Some are hopeful. Often, if people are trying to prove their innocence. This woman actually they'd gone down the polygraph path before. Long ago, she actually submitted a polygraph. Submitted the down payment, so to speak, for a polygraph. Had they actually moved forward with that, I mean, just think about this experience relative to what we're going to talk about today, which is nuts. So polygraph, it was invented 100 and some odd years ago, 102 or so years ago. But had they gone through with that, she contacted already. She had to find a polygraph, call them up. She made a down payment, $150, and started working with that polygraph examiner on the test. So a lot of back and forth. Had they gone through that, she would have walked down, or they would have driven down to this examiner's office. Her then husband, or now husband, would have sat there for 3+ hours, been asked all sorts of questions, and by a human. While this is a trained human, it's still a human. There's bias involved. There can be error involved, and that's not common on an examiner. That's just basic. I make or I screw up all the time, not necessarily intentionally, but so had they gone, this would have been an extensive process. It would have been as much as $1,500 to complete. And so when we compare that to what we're going to talk about today, we've had advancements even over the last 18 months in terms of what we're bringing to the market. So I just keep that in mind with what we're going to talk about today, and how we and many other organizations are leveraging AI to bring help to people who need it, like this woman, this couple. So I'm excited to chat today, Bryan, and kind of pull this apart. Further.
Yeah, no, that's, it's so interesting, the story that you tell, because it's so common, right? And people are, and you put to your point, they're vulnerable, they need answers. And one of the really great things is that new technologies in a variety of areas have now dramatically changed the way that we can get those answers. So phone technology has changed sufficient that now we can utilize the 4K camera on the back of most phones to collect data. AI has now come along in ways that can help us assess the answers to those questions. And if you think about a human being involved in the bias that a human introduces, if we can eliminate that, and if computer algorithms can score that instead, we get much higher accuracy and much better consistency. So if you're okay, Mary Claire, maybe what we should do is let's share and show people how this would work differently than a polygraph.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
I love it.
Fantastic.
While you're pulling that up, I was talking we have a marriage counselor, various marriage counselors that are partners, and the reason they came to us was because this issue of bias as it relates to polygraph. And the last time this couple had taken a polygraph, it was just a really uncomfortable experience. And so anyway, which is all the more reason I'm excited for what we're about to show.
Yeah, I am too. I think this can really change people's lives. And as you know, our mission is to help people move their lives forward. And I think that you've got to get answers in order to move your life forward. Now, we'll start by saying the same thing we always do. No lie detection test is 100% accurate. So it's not that this new technology is perfect. It's certainly not. But it's much, much better than what we've had in the past. And so worth having this conversation to show people about it, because if it can help them, then that's what we're trying to do. So if you come to our website, just type in iCanKnow.com and you'll get to this page. And if you see, you can see that there is a big green button here that says select and customize your questions. If you click that button, it takes you right to the test builder where you can begin to build your test and prepare that ready to take or to send to whoever would take the test. There are 6 steps. They're very simple, and I'll just go over them really quickly. If you choose your questions and then fill in any blanks, the questions are customizable. And then double check your questions to make sure they're right and they answer the question you're trying to answer. Then you can go ahead and complete the purchase. You can buy. And by the way, we offer a money back guarantee that the test will get a definitive result or we'll give you your money back. You can take the test yourself or send it to someone else and then view and track your progress and results in your account. Very simple. Never need to leave home. You can do this in the convenience of your home, and it takes just a few minutes. And we'll talk more about that as we go forward. If the test doesn't, as I mentioned, return this clear and determinate result, then we'll either put a free test in your account or let you take another or give you your money back. So once you get started here, we run you through a few things to let you know what some of the same things that I just said up front, that no lie detection is 100% accurate, but that this can be one data point in the decisions that you make. The very first thing you do is you're going to pick a category, and you can see here that there are a number of categories from alcohol, communication, drug, fidelity, finance, gambling, illegal lying, pornography, relationships, a number of things that you can ask about. Let's say that I want to ask about fidelity. That's a very popular topic. The test will actually create a number of questions that you can choose from, and you can choose up to 3. And so let's just go through here and we'll suggest a couple. Let's say that.
What if we use a situation? I've had 2 conversations this morning that resulted in the same.
Okay.
So what if? So let's just explain a scenario. There's a woman who's concerned, or a man, but frequently, well, a man or a woman who's concerned that their partner has had some sort of contact with a previous affair, and that contact, physical contact. So they're worried they've slept with them again or had some sort of sexual contact with them. They're worried there's communication. Are they flirting still with this person? And the third is usually, are they having some sort of emotional is there any emotional cheating going on? So they're communicating things and topics that really should only be shared within a marriage. So those are the 3 most common, and they popped up this morning twice. So
yeah, well, let's pick those. I love that. So here's the first one. Have I communicated sexually with anyone besides my partner since we started dating? And wherever you see these underlined words, those are variables that can be changed. So let's pick this one. You talked about sexual contact.
Yep.
Let's pick sexual contact there as well. And do you want to do the emotional relationship one as well?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, let's pick those 3. So then we'll go next with those 3 questions. And so for each one of these, they're going to ask us how we want to fill in these variables. So have I communicated sexually with, and who would that be? Let's say a former partner or an ex. Let's just say any of your exes. So any ex. How's that?
Yep.
By the way, this could be a name if you wanted it to be, or whatever you want to fill in there, right? Now, besides, this is an exception if you want to say, have I communicated sexually with any ex besides so-and-so, because maybe you know that they communicated with one of them. You could do that. So you could say besides George. But this might also be something you're like, I just want to know if there are any of them. So I'm not going to use an exception. I'm just going to click that off. And then since what time period? Because is it forever that they've certainly communicated with an ex at some point. So let's say since our current relationship started. How's that?
Great.
So then the question is, have I communicated sexually with any ex since our current relationship started? Which I think will help us in terms of getting an answer since we've been together. Okay, so let's move to the next question. Now, this is the one that we could do sexual activity on. So let's say it's sexual contact. Again, we could fill that in whichever way we want. Who's the suspected participant? Let's say with anyone, right? How's that? In fact, there's an option right there with anyone. I want to know if it's with anyone other than, and in this case, the other than is something we should use because because we probably are having sexual relationship with our current partner. So have I had sexual contact with anyone other than my current wife since, and here let's do the same thing. Let's say since marriage. All right. So now we've got 2 questions here, and here's the third one for us. Have you had an emotional relationship with? So what do we want to say here, Mary Claire?
I would say any X again.
Okay, so let's say any X. Besides, we probably, again, don't need, because unless we think we've had an emotional affair with one of our exes, but let's say no there. And then let's say the time period again is since marriage. Okay. Once we get all of our questions, they'll show up here for us to review. Have I communicated sexually with any ex since our current relationship started? Have you had sexual contact with anyone other than your current wife since marriage? Have you had an emotional relationship with any ex since marriage? Does that work?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, good. So then you say, if these are, now I will point out here, if for some reason we can't get to the questions we want to ask, there is an option that you can actually click to have somebody help you with the test questions, and they're completely customizable. So rather than having these kinds of structured templates that you drop in variables, these would be questions that you could completely structure in a personalized way.
Yep.
And you could click there and have a test professional help you with that as you go forward. So that's just an option. We'll just point that out. But let's say that looks good. So now we're going to say, okay, who will be the test taker? And if it's you, then you can say, I will. If it's somebody else, let's say a wife was doing this and you say it's my husband. Or let's say you want to put their name in there. It's George. Okay. Now we're going to accept the terms and the conditions, and then we're going to pay. Now, here we have a credit in our account. We could say to use the credit to pay, which I will do. But this would then give you an option. It will take you to use your credit card to pay for the test. So we're going to now create the test.
Oh, Bryan, as this is being created, somebody could just have a 1-question test, right? They don't need
Correct.
to do 2. Yeah. Okay.
I'm glad you said that, Mary Claire. Yeah, you could have a 1-question test, a 2-question test, or a 3-question test. That's correct.
And then I think, excuse me, going back again, once the test is created, the topics that are in there, I mean, that's the interesting thing about, we can keep going, but the lie detection test and how we built it, almost any topic can be covered. And we'll go over that here shortly, but let's keep going.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And all of these tests are created based on the science that was developed out of the University of Utah by Dr. Raskin and Dr. Kircher, so that the questions are structurally built appropriately. The structure of the test, the instructions, all of those are then built the way that the science dictates that it should. So when you get to this point now, the test is ready to begin, and you can start the test right here if you were on your phone. You can just begin the test, or you can send a link. Let's say that I wanted to send this link to George. So I click this up, I put in George's email. And once I put in his email, then you say, okay, who is the test taker that's invited you to take this test? And you go ahead and hit send, and it sends that link directly to that person, and they can then take the test.
So when they receive that link, they'll click the link, the app will automatically download, and the test will initiate, correct?
That's correct. And it automatically starts. And taking the test, we should run through that a little bit of what it looks like, Mary Claire. So now if you receive this link, why don't you tell us what that would look like relative to what a polygraph looked like?
If you actually press start test, Bryan, this will help a little bit. So, and we won't go over these, but whether it's you're being sent the test link or you're going to take the test, there'll be an instructional video here. We've got all sorts of things that can answer your question, and then from there, again, you'll be prompted to download the app. So, a test takes a 3-topic test like we just created. Will take anywhere from like 15 to 18 minutes to complete. What's going to happen is those 3 topics or questions are going to be turned into 80 true-false statements. So there's 20 for each topic, and then we have a control topic or control question that's usually related to a behavior. It's a behavior, event, or action related to fidelity or sexual contact of some sort, but really extreme. It's unlikely that an individual taking the test would have done those things, such as human sex trafficking.
Right.
So those will be sprinkled in throughout the test. And what's going to happen in the test will initiate. You'll see all the instructions. You'll be an AI voice will read the instructions to you. You will be able to see the instructions. At a certain point, you're going to be prompted to flip the phone over. The flashlight will come on. We're going to stare at kind of the middle or upper half of our phone, and an AI voice is going to state those, 80 true false statements as to having sexual contact with an ex since you started your relationship.
Yep.
I have not. True or false or whatever it may be.
Mhm.
So it's almost like a person, in some ways it's like a personality test, because you're going to be stated the same thing or similar thing is going to be stated a number of times. In other ways, it's like a vision test, because you're going to have an eye in your light. Sorry, a light in your eye. In that process of answering these true false statements, the phone will capture over 5,000 pictures of your eye, measuring your pupil dilation. When the test is complete, like I said, this will take 15 to 18 minutes or so. Take a couple minutes for the data to upload, and then it will go through an algorithm, a proven, tested time and time again, lab studies over and over on an algorithm, AI-based algorithm that will score your test. And within 15 minutes, a report will be, in your inbox or in your account, ready to go. And it's measuring, again, we're measuring pupil dilation and a number of other data points. As it relates to that control question, how are you reacting? How are your eyes reacting when asked about that control question? And then how are they reacting when asked about those topics or the question of interest? And then that's how the report is automatically generated from there.
Yeah. And so think about that in 15 minutes, then you would see this in your account, right? So now each one of these is a test, and you can see that it's going to go through a list here. If you think about, we call this our Domino's pizza tracker, right? I mean, the point is it's now being created. It's now in the oven. It's now being ready to pick up. And you can look and see exactly where this test is in your account. So if I am the wife now that wants my husband to take this test, I can see where it is. All right, I've created and sent it. Now it's been opened, it's been started, it's been finished, and it's now uploading. It's now been, and it's going to be scored, and then it's completed, and now it's in there ready to view. And you can see that if you have along here, like say, oh, I've created a test, but nothing else is happening, you can see that. So each one of those makes it super easy to follow along as you go through that test. So again, to your point, Mary Claire, 15 minutes to take the test, 15 to 20 minutes to upload and score it. Results are in your account. You didn't have to go anywhere. You're able to use AI technology with no bias, and you're able to get the answers to your question at a higher level of accuracy.
Yeah.
In some cases, as much as 50% more accurate. So polygraph is 65 to 75% accurate. Our tests are 85 to 89% accurate. It's just a better technology and a better way to get answers to your questions.
Okay, so Bryan, what happens if we get to the spot where we built our questions, but we still don't feel like we have what we want? What's another option for us?
Yeah, so we have created a product where you can do a lot of this yourself if your question is fairly standard. But we have a number of customers who are asking very detailed and very personalized questions. And for those, we actually have an option. I'm just going to scroll down here and show you this from a pricing. We have what we call our professionally assisted Truth Quest test. This test is actually an opportunity to work with a test professional to build completely personalized questions, so that the questions, they're not built off a template. They're built with your test professional, up to 3 unique questions that you want to build. And so if you come down a little bit further, there's a way actually that you can submit that question right here. So explore professional assistance. And if you get this professional assistance, then what you get is an opportunity to submit a form that has your email, password, and the questions that you want to ask. We get this form, and then we'll begin a dialogue with you to build the test exactly how you need it built, to answer the questions exactly the way you need to have them asked.
So it's almost like a white glove service, if you will. What I think what we've built is amazing, and like you said, sometimes it doesn't fit all situations. We also have situations where somebody knows they're going to take this test a number of times, more of an accountability factor, or an accountability, a mode of accountability, whether it's related to a fidelity related question or some sort of substance abuse or pornography or whatever it may be. So those are other instances where somebody would submit to TruthQuest, and we're going to work with them to build a test and build a system that works for them. But we've got a whole team of test professionals that are available and ready to get going for folks that, again, these are oftentimes delicate situations. And so whether it's because you can't find the question that you can't find the question you need, or you really want to do this with somebody else and be assisted along the way, that's what this is for.
Yeah, and we should just state that these tests usually take about 24 hours to build.
Yep.
So if you started on one day, you usually get the test the next day ready to take. We should also state that we can do these in other languages, Spanish and other languages that you may want to do the test in. So that's also available. Well stated.
Well, Bryan, anything else we should share with our listeners out there that we haven't thought about yet in terms of what it's like to build a test, to take a test, and work with our team?
Just want to emphasize how easy it is and how convenient it is to take this test, and to rest assured that, number one, it's real technology, it's patented, it's peer reviewed. Yep. It was developed by a scientific team at a major university known for its healthcare and intervention technologies. It's been vastly utilized, right? Over 100 law enforcement agencies use it. Over 28 foreign governments use it. We've done hundreds of thousands of these tests for consumers. The technology works. It's the best technology on the market today. So just want to help everybody feel comforted that it will get the very best results they can hope for with respect to the answers they're trying to get.
And help them move life forward.
Again, and help them move life forward.
Back to our mission.
That's awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Mary Claire, for this. It's been fantastic. I really appreciate the conversation. Hopefully this is helpful to our customers and those who are listening. Thank you, all of our listeners. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like and follow us on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And until next time, we hope your quest for truth is successful.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Bye now.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Truth Quest. If you'd like to be a guest on our show or would like to customize a solution for yourself or your business, email us directly at answers@icannknow.com. TruthQuest is brought to you by the #1 truth verification technology available today. Visit us at icannknow.com to learn more, and stay tuned for the next Truth Quest.